Most founders sound exactly like the competition. If you want to be competitive in a crowded market, you can't just be better, you have to be different. I'm your host, Cameron Olds.
And I'm Dallin Merrill, and we're here to talk about how you can avoid being mistaken for your competition, differentiate your brand, and ultimately create a lasting competitive advantage for yourself in the market.
Welcome to Differentiate or Die. This episode of Differentiate or Die is brought to you by MessageOS. And by brought to you by, we mean written by.
If your team describes your product 10 different ways, your product is no longer differentiated. It's confusing, and so are your customers.
MessageOS helps big teams keep every sales deck, social caption, and support reply on message and on brand.
Clear, consistent, differentiated. Every time someone talks about you.
See how it works at protagonistcomms.co.
Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Darren Merrill. Happy Friday to you.
Thanks. Take 4.
Take 4-0.
All right. I wanted to ask you a quick question. What is the first Airbnb that you've ever been to? Or VRBO?
First Airbnb I've ever been to. You know, I don't know if I could remember the first one. But I do definitely remember like my childhood. Anytime we went on vacation to like Disneyland or like California, or we went to go visit my grandparents, like it was always in a hotel. Airbnb wasn't around, so I always remember going to hotels growing up, and that was like vacation mode for me. Was we check into a hotel, and that meant we arrived. Now it's like in my adult life, it's where's the Airbnb, and checking into some random person's house means that vacation has started.
Oh yeah, totally, and it's way better too because I remember at hotels I'd always have to sleep on the floor.
Oh,
because there wasn't enough beds. I was the young boy, you know, the 4th out of 5, and so I was always stuck sleeping on the cushions or something on the floor of the hotel. So now, definitely upgraded with Airbnb. It's a little more spacious, but the
now you
best.
can sleep on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. I think the first Airbnb I ever went to was I came back from a mission, and there was and I went back to visit some people. Mm-hmm. And in the Canary Islands, in the island of Tenerife, there's these really big cliffs. And
Cool.
They're like black cliffs. And in the middle of one of these cliffs are a bunch of people live there. And so one of them was made into an Airbnb.
Oh,
and
very
like
cool.
You could look down on the water, like right at your balcony. You literally slept and you could see the ocean like from your bed. It was amazing. So That was definitely the first and best Airbnb experience I've ever had.
That actually reminds me of, let's see, right before Becca and I got married, like we went on a trip to the Oregon coast with my family, and my grandparents rented out 2 Airbnbs that were next door to each other, and it was right on the beach. And
cool.
So every morning we would like wake up and watch the sunrise over the ocean on the Oregon coast. And if you haven't been to the Oregon coast, absolutely stunning, beautiful. Pacific Northwest is like my favorite place in the world. So that, I think, to answer your first question, I think that would be probably my favorite Airbnb experience because it was awesome. Just right on the beach, like kind of like you, but like I had sands I could go down and play around on, not jagged cliffs.
Oh, that's great. That is super cool. So obviously today we're talking about 2 companies. We're going to put them up against each other, Airbnb versus VRBO.
VRBO.
Yeah. And I didn't know this about the 2 companies, but VRBO was actually founded before Airbnb.
I didn't know that either. Okay, so is it VRBO or is it VRBO?
I say both. Sometimes I say VRBO, sometimes I say VRBO. So
I think it's VRBO. I've seen some ads from them, and I think they always say VRBO.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know, but VRBO's good with me.
VRBO it is. But I didn't know that either. I didn't know that VRBO was the older of the 2. I thought Airbnb obviously Airbnb like made the segment, made the whole industry, put it on the map. But
yeah.
So does that mean that was VRBO doing the same thing as Airbnb before Airbnb, or were they doing something different and then Airbnb kind of created the category and then VRBO pivoted to compete?
I mean, I don't know. So on what I was able to find from VRBO, they were like, it was created by David Klaus in Colorado. He wanted to rent out his ski condo. And so
cool.
it was kind of like classifieds. So think KSL classifieds, so, but specifically for vacation owners. So, you can go put your rental on there and people can come rent your home for a little while. Where Airbnb was like, so their story was Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, and they couldn't afford rent in San Fran. And so they turned their apartment into a like bed and breakfast, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so then they were like, a terrible experience. Like, talk about a terrible Airbnb experience. They were renting out air mattresses on their floor.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Okay, so is that where like airbed and okay.
Yep.
I always thought it was just like air because it was like on an app over the cloud or something like that. But literally it's because they were renting out airbeds in their freaking apartment.
Yeah, literally air mattresses.
That's funny. Okay. I feel like I'm always learning stupid things about company names, like So Delicious and now Airbnb. All right, well, I'm just catching up.
I didn't know that one either. I don't think it's supposed to be words at all. I mean, it is, but like, it's not an obvious one for sure.
Gotcha. I love that though. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I think they both kind of had a similar idea around the same time. I don't think VRBO had gotten super big yet because it was more of a classifieds listing, right?
Gotcha. Okay. So different sales channel.
Exactly. Yes.
Gotcha.
But both of them have kind of like become very similar, right? Are you going to get it on VRBO or are you going to get it on Airbnb? Mm-hmm. And generally, if I'm going to make the choice, I don't know. I have Airbnb on my phone. I don't have VRBO on my phone, right? So, but I do often look at VRBO just for like price check, like, oh, is there like something else here that I like that's maybe a little bit cheaper than what I'm finding on Airbnb? So I'll do that sometimes. Or if I'm really into it, then I'll do an entire home. Like if I really know I want a big home or something somewhere for a vacation, then maybe VRBO would be the way to go.
Gotcha.
Because that's what they talk about a lot, right? Is we own the whole place. If you're on Airbnb, you might get an apartment. If you're on VRBO, the whole place is yours.
To yourself. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I've heard that in some of their advertisements that it's the whole place to yourself. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that's like key number one on what we're going to talk about today is messaging. Like without looking at their website, without looking at any of their socials, I know they do that really well.
Yeah. I think that's definitely like they're very message forward, at least in their differentiator, which actually really cool. Kudos to VRBO because we haven't even looked at your website yet. And we already know this is what sets you apart. So kudos. Should we take a look at their website?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. VRBO or Airbnb first?
Well, let's do VRBO first.
Okay, here we go. Here is VRBO. Oh my gosh, dude, they did it.
Nice,
H1 right
Cameron.
Here.
That's great.
The entire place just for you. So we're looking at VRBO's website right now, and above the fold, obviously you have like your scheduling bar, so you can set your destination and the dates you'll be there and how many people are going to come, so you can search for availability. But kind of like how we were talking with Turo in the Turo versus Enterprise episode, because same kind of website thing where you're trying to schedule or book a car. They actually included they included their key differentiator in their messaging above the fold.
Yeah.
Good for VRBO.
And you know what's so cool about that is like we know that. I think a lot of people know that about VRBO, but that's because they've been consistent across all channels now, right? They're consistent on their social media, radio ads, any kind of top of the funnel content. But then here on their website, it's the same exact thing. They might think, like a lot of companies, oh, I said it in my social media. Who cares? Like now they're here to shop on my website. And so they don't need to know the entire place is for you because they already know that. No, they still put it here. And I think that's great. I think that really people now know, okay, this really is just for you. That's really valuable.
Because conversely, comparing it or looking at Airbnb, you've got sometimes you don't get the whole place to yourself, right? Like you're at a condo, or you're maybe, I've even seen it where, you're renting out bedrooms in a house that's being lived in by the owner.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. And that would be really weird. I could totally see that as being weird.
Yeah, it would be weird. In fact, Airbnb just recently came out with a new whole list of things you can rent. Like not
cool.
just live in. Like this year actually was like, I think the first time they've actually gone out there and done it. But like you can now rent a garage space, or you can rent a scooter or a bike, or experiences is their big thing right now. So like you can go on Airbnb, and if you're going to France, you can get an experience with a chef in France, and they will make you a nice meal when you're there. So they've really branched out into what you can purchase on Airbnb.
Gotcha. Well, let's keep going down VRBO. So, I mean, nailed it out of the park. They've got their differentiator as the hero language and product language right up here above the fold. Super, super good job, VRBO. Like, if I was competing with Airbnb, like the big juggernaut, like I would 100% use that message everywhere I could. And I would say it the first. So good job. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I would go as far to say that they probably are live because of it.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if VRBO didn't show that as their messaging, a lot of people wouldn't get on the app. Like, I think I would probably say 80% of their clients come on here because of that differentiator. I could be wrong. Maybe some do price, like I mentioned earlier, but I bet a lot of people, if they want a whole place, this is the first place they go.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, if you're really concerned about privacy, or you don't want to deal with weird circumstances and situations like living just in a room, like 100%, this is where you're at. Absolutely. Yeah. So scrolling down, it looks like we just get into pretty much like any standard booking site, like trending destinations near you, find spaces that suit your style, discover weekend getaways, trending places for group trips. Oh, that might be an interesting, talking about going back to the 3 different ways you can differentiate yourself: target audience, product, and sales channel. Like, obviously they differentiated their product because no matter what you book on VRBO, you're always getting the whole place to yourself. So that's like differentiated by product, but you could also differentiate by target audience with this piece of messaging here, group trips.
Yeah.
So I think that could be interesting too. I love that they put that on here. I don't know if this is a permanent fixture or not. Maybe it's like a seasonal thing, but like trending places for group trips, browse our list of trending destinations, then book to see for yourself why travelers love them. Okay, cool. Well, the H2 just kind of doesn't really support anything the H1 says, but the H1's great. Trending places for group trips. I love that.
Yeah. I liked what you said earlier about privacy. So, I mean, if their main message is entire place to yourself, I would love to see underneath their main message, like 3 bullet points of their features of why that's so important, right?
Yeah.
Like you just said, group trips, that's a big deal. So, having that underneath there, and then also privacy and showing why that's important, having some information there, and maybe a third reason of why having the entire place just for you is good for the consumer.
Yeah, having or pairing features and benefits with your H1 or your hero language that's a winning formula all the time, of course. And I think everything. Oh, here they go. Find private stays that work for you. There you go. So that's another. So scrolling down past the group places, another H3 that they have is find private stays that work for you. I love that. I love that. It seems like they have a good handle on what makes them different, and they know how to communicate it. Good for VRBO. Good for VRBO.
That's perfect. They were on top of it.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Oh, here's the features and benefits, Daryl. There's just a little lower on so we've got peace of mind, all the privacy of home, more for less, a place for everyone. So, yeah, we would call this success language at Protagonist. Here at Protagonist, we call this success language. And success language is all of the good things, all of the benefits that come from your product and are associated with like the aspirational identity of your customer. So this is all, peace of mind, privacy at home, enjoy full kitchens, laundries, pool, yards, and more, like fantastic success language. But you were just saying, move it up a little bit, make the connection a little more apparent by putting all the success language underneath the H1 up above, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't hate this. It's probably worth A/B testing, seeing what works better.
Right.
But probably up a little bit further is probably a better idea.
Yeah.
But I love that they have it here. Like I love that they at least have it somewhere on this page. So
yeah, totally agree. Good for VRBO. This is actually probably my favorite example that we've looked at of all the companies and all the different industries and sections we've looked at. Like this is actually, I think they do a really good job of being clear, but then also communicating their uniqueness. Good job, VRBO. Like I'm totally
I think so
sold
too.
on this. This is great.
Me too.
Okay, cool. Should we get to Airbnb now? Let's see if Airbnb passes or holds up.
Let's take a look.
Here is Airbnb's website. Okay, not looking so good. We're not happy. Daryl, why are we not happy?
The complete store, no messaging.
Yeah, complete store, no messaging. So, I mean, we have the same scheduling bar up at the top where you can book your time and your location and the date, check in, check out, and how many people are coming. And then we're just thrown right into popular homes in St. George, Utah, available in Park City, stay in Salt Lake. Oh my gosh, it's literally nothing but houses, or it's nothing but offerings. Wow, they just throw you right in.
Here's what I don't understand. Like, are they just so big that they don't think they need to?
I would assume so. I mean, we were talking about this at the beginning where Airbnb was the one that created the category. And so I think everyone associates the rental of a non-hotel space to stay in with Airbnb. And so maybe if you are, I've been wrestling with this for a while. Tell me what you think about this. If you are the first mover and you've captured a majority of the market, so that you are automatically associated with your industry, you might be able to get away. Obviously they have. You're probably able to get away with not being message forward.
Yeah. Okay. So I could agree with that until we get to something like maybe the experiences and the services. So your new items, your expansions, right? I mean, I know about this because I like to learn new things, and so I think Airbnb is a crazy cool company to follow. I just think what they've done in the industry has flipped the entire hotel and everything, home staying on their heads. And so I think it's so interesting. And this is another really interesting thing, right? I can go here, like we're looking, and get a rock crawler tour in Zion's. Or,
right.
That's really unique. And so on your front page, I would love to see something about what the benefit to me is for having this on the Airbnb platform.
Right.
Right. And so having messaging that fits that would be, I think, would help them quite a bit.
Yeah.
More and more people will kind of flock to this. It does make your messaging more and more generic the further you get, right? So the more and more generic your company gets, but yeah.
You can just see it as a different product. We create product hierarchies all the time where you have a whole suite of products and you're trying to keep everything inside the same messaging parameters so it all rolls up into one cohesive whole. So if you treated the experience side of things as just a different product, and same with services, you could just treat it, and each one just has its own message playbook that rolls up into the master message. So I think you could treat it like that. But to your point earlier about, okay, maybe you could get away with not being message forward as a company if you've captured the market share and you're already kind of you are like the face of your industry. But like I think I agree with you. And if you're going to expand into different segments like experiences and services, like if you click into the services tab, like you've got training and photography and catering and spa and hair, so you can book services on this thing as well. Like if you're going to expand segments and kind of widen your offering, I think you do need to have messaging in there because you're adding something new to an experience that people are already familiar with, and so they might not get it. So I totally agree with you. Like if you're going to expand segments, you should definitely have a message to explain it to people, and they don't do it at all.
No, I would love, so just thinking through this, dissecting it, originally their feature was we're better than a hotel because we're cheaper often because it's a new experience, kind of like my experience at the Canary Islands. Like you're never going to get that from a hotel, so more personalized.
Right.
And maybe a little bit of like you're supporting the community because they can get paid, so maybe a little bit of that. And they're doing the same thing with experiences and services, right? So experiences, maybe it's a little bit easier to book, or it's a different experience, right? It's like you're this is maybe something you wouldn't find if you just Googled experiences in France, right? You might not find that initially, or experiences in St. George. You might not automatically pull up something like that, and it might be a little bit easier to book. The other nice thing is that it's always refundable, type of a thing.
Sure. I mean, that's table stakes, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I was going to go, we were going to do Airbnb for our honeymoon, and I booked through Airbnb, but then I was also, I think they had just launched experiences. And so I was looking at experiences like places we could go for dinner and like photo shoots on a yacht. We were going to go to San Diego, so like photo shoots on a yacht in the bay at sunset or something like that, you know. And so I think part of the messaging could be, hey, you know, maybe an all-in-one thing, all-in-one vacation management.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. No, I like that. That's kind of what I was trying to get at, is the ease of use for the customer. I think the all-in-one app, I think that's kind of what they're trying to get to now. And their messaging probably has changed from what it was initially.
I think I'd agree. You know, that all-in-one travel, all-in-one vacation management, I think that's cool because you've got your room and lodge, you've got your experiences, so you can go out and have fun, and you've got your services, so you could go eat and do all that stuff. Like, yeah, if you're booking, that'd be kind of cool for Airbnb too. I'd love to see that, you know. If you're going on vacation somewhere, if you're planning a vacation, you can plan it all on Airbnb, and it's all in your app, and you could run the whole thing off of your app while you're there. I think that'd be super cool to see, really. Yeah,
I wonder if they start getting into like car rental.
That'd be crazy. I don't know why they wouldn't actually.
Kill out Turo, you know?
That would be actually pretty insane.
Yeah,
that would be the next move. You have experiences, services, and then transportation. And then homes. Yeah. Vacation management all in one. That would be the smart move, Airbnb. Hey, if you're listening, hit us up. We could help make this super, super easy for people.
I'm sure they've thought about it.
I mean, but it doesn't matter if they've thought about it. Like, they ain't talking about it. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they got to do it, so.
So, Daryl Merrill, would you say that VRBO and Airbnb, are they differentiated?
Yeah, definitely. VRBO was by far one of the best we've seen in both differentiation as well as in clarity. They have some minor improvements that they could make, but on the whole, VRBO does a really good job. Airbnb, on the other hand, maybe think they're too big to fail, and maybe that's true or not. Regardless, it does not hurt to put messaging on their main page, especially as they're trying to get into new markets. I think that would be key into helping people understand their products better. Yeah,
I agree. On the clarity uniqueness matrix that we use, I think I would put Airbnb in the bottom right-hand corner, which is high uniqueness, low clarity. So that I think they are unique if they're going this route with like vacation management all in one. Super cool, super unique, but they're not communicating it clearly. They're not talking about it. And I think I would put VRBO maybe up in the top right corner. What would you say? Like high uniqueness, high clarity. Like they were talking about, you get the whole thing to yourself. It's groups, it's privacy. I would give VRBO full marks, honestly. I mean, like you could maybe sprinkle in more messaging, but I would give it full marks.
Yeah, me too. Great job, guys. Thanks for joining us today on Differentiate or Die, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.